They laughed first. Not loudly. Not all at once. Just enough for the sound to spread across the chamber like a disease. And when the laughter ended, something far more dangerous replaced it. Silence. The human delegation stood alone at the center of the Grand Council Chamber, a place no human had ever stood before. The chamber was vast, shaped like a hollow moon, its ceiling open to the stars themselves. Thousands of alien representatives watched from tiered seats carved into crystal and living metal. Their eyes glowed, shimmered, or burned, depending on the species. Some stared with curiosity, most with boredom, a few with hunger. Humanity's ship had been the smallest ever allowed to dock at Prime Station. That fact alone had already become a joke among the elder races. Ambassador Elena Ward stood straight, her hands folded calmly behind her back. She wore no armor, no symbols of power, only a dark blue jacket marked with the silver emblem of Earth. Behind her stood 5 others, engineers, diplomats, analysts, ordinary humans chosen not for strength, but for trust. They had traveled 60 years beyond their home star. 60 years into a galaxy that had ruled itself for 40,000. The High Arbiter spoke first. Its body looked carved from stone and flame, ancient and unmoving. Humanity, it said, its voice echoing through every translator at once. You requested audience. Speak. Elena took one step forward. We come in peace, she said. Not to beg. Not to submit. We come to ask for recognition. Sovereignty over our systems. Trade access. And a voice. That was when the laughter began. At first, it came from the upper tiers. A clicking sound. A deep rumble. A sharp, musical chime. Then more joined. The sound grew, rolling down the chamber like an avalanche. Even some council members allowed themselves smiles. A young species. 60 years old. Asking for a voice. One councillor leaned forward, its many eyes narrowing. You expand too quickly, it said. You multiply too fast. Species like you burn out. You fight each other. You collapse. History proves this. Another added, you are clever, yes. But cleverness without wisdom destroys itself. The High Arbiter raised a hand, silencing the room, but not the amusement behind their eyes. You will be granted protection, it said. A patron race. Guidance. Obedience in exchange for survival. Elena did not respond immediately. Behind her, one of the human engineers clenched his fists. Another swallowed hard. She finally spoke. Thank you, she said calmly. But we decline. That caused another ripple of laughter. The Arbiter tilted its head. Decline. Yes, Elena said. We did not cross the void to kneel. The silence that followed was sharp. You misunderstand, the Arbiter replied. This is not a choice. Elena nodded once. Then neither is what comes next. She turned. No threats. No speeches. No final words. The humans walked out. Their footsteps echoed far louder than their voices ever could. The doors closed behind them. And for the first time in centuries, the council chamber felt uneasy. Human space went dark. Not hostile. Not violent. Just silent. Trade routes ended at invisible borders. Diplomatic signals were acknowledged politely, and refused. Human ships escorted visitors away without firing a single shot. Inside those borders, humanity worked. Factories multiplied. Orbital rings formed around planets once considered marginal. Engineers dismantled asteroids with surgical precision. Power collectors bloomed near stars like metallic flowers. Shipyards grew into cities. No messages were sent. No explanations offered. The galaxy assumed it was pride. The High Arbiter assured the Council it would pass. But deep within Prime Station's archives, anomaly reports began to stack. Energy outputs rising too fast. Population growth defying models. Ship designs that didn't follow known logic. Humanity wasn't copying anyone. They were inventing. 5 years passed. Then 10. And one day, without warning, a border patrol vanished. No debris. No distress signal. Just gone. The laughter from the council chamber felt very far away now. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, humanity finished building something the galaxy had never seen before. Something that did not ask for permission. The first official investigation fleet arrived at the edge of human space 11 years after the laughter. It was not sent because the council feared humanity. It was sent because the galaxy could not explain them anymore. 6 ships crossed the boundary line, massive, ancient vessels powered by technologies refined over millennia. Their hulls carried symbols of authority recognized everywhere. No species had ever ignored them before. A human patrol appeared almost immediately. The patrol ships were smaller, sleeker. Wrong. Their hulls were smooth, dark, and oddly matte, swallowing light instead of reflecting it. No visible weapons. No glowing engines. They moved like thoughts rather than machines. A calm human voice filled the investigation fleet's command channel. "You are approaching restricted space," the voice said. "Please alter course." "This is an official council mission," the fleet commander replied. "We demand entry." There was a pause. Not hesitation. Calculation. "Request denied," the human voice said. "You are not under threat. You are not welcome." The commander laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound. "You cannot enforce that," he said. The human ships did not move. Neither did the fleet. Then, without warning, every system aboard the council ships flickered. Not shut down. Not damaged. Just interrupted. Navigation froze. Weapons went unresponsive. Sensors filled with static that did not behave like noise, but like deliberate blindness. The human voice returned. "You have 30 seconds to turn back," it said gently. They did. The fleet limped home humiliated. Systems mysteriously restored the moment they crossed the border. The report shook the council. "How did they do that?" demanded one elder. "They should not possess such precision," said another. "That level of control requires centuries." The High Arbiter remained silent. Because it remembered the ambassador's eyes. Within human space, there were no celebrations. No speeches. Only work. Humanity had learned something essential the day they were laughed out of the chamber. The galaxy respected power, but feared unpredictability. So humans became neither loud nor obvious. They built inward, not outward. They optimized instead of expanding recklessly. They connected minds before they connected stars. Artificial intelligences were not rulers, they were partners. Biology was not discarded, it was enhanced carefully. Energy was not wasted, it was folded, recycled, redirected. Where elder races built monuments, humans built systems. And where others showed strength, humans hid capability. On Earth, a quiet message circulated through every government, corporation, and research collective. No more permission. No more demonstrations. No more begging to be seen. The galaxy would notice on its own. 15 years after the Council Chamber incident, trade patterns shifted. Routes near human space became safer. Pirate activity dropped sharply. Entire syndicates vanished after targeting the wrong convoy. No survivors, no wreckage, only rumors. Some claimed human ships hunted pirates. Others claimed something worse. Insurance guilds quietly adjusted risk calculations. Mercenary fleets avoided the region. Smugglers whispered warnings. Don't cross the quiet stars. The council tried to regain control of the narrative. Young species grow fast, one elder announced publicly. They will plateau. But internally, concern spread. Human shipyards were producing vessels faster than projections allowed. Their colonies were self-sufficient almost immediately. Their technology did not rely on any known galactic standard. They were not upgrading. They were diverging. Then came the incident at Caro's Drift. A border system claimed by an elder race collapsed overnight. Its star destabilized. Not exploded. Not consumed. Stabilized. Differently. The system was surrounded by unfamiliar structures before anyone could respond. Human megaconstructs shaped like vast rings and lattices, calmly harvesting energy that should not have been accessible. A human message followed. This system was uninhabited, it stated. We identified inefficiencies. We corrected them. The elder race protested furiously. The council convened an emergency session. You cannot rewrite stellar physics without consent, one councillor roared. The human response arrived within seconds. We did not rewrite it, the message said. We understood it. Silence filled the chamber. That was when fear truly began. The High Arbiter retreated to its private chambers and activated forbidden archives, records of extinct civilizations, sealed after their fall. Patterns emerged. Every species that dominated through tradition eventually stagnated. Every species that laughed at disruption vanished. Humans were not seeking dominance. They were seeking freedom. And freedom, when combined with intelligence, was far more dangerous. 20 years after humanity walked out without a word, the council voted. Reluctantly, quietly, they would reopen talks. A new delegation was prepared. Not enforcers. Not rulers. Diplomats. The message sent was simple. The council wishes to speak. The reply took longer than expected. When it arrived, it contained only one line. We are listening now. And across the galaxy, ancient powers felt something unfamiliar tighten around them. Not hatred. Not revenge. Expectation. The council delegation entered human space with caution this time. No banners. No threats. No laughter. Their ships moved slowly, announcing themselves at every checkpoint. Human patrols appeared, watched, and escorted them forward without a word. The silence felt heavier than hostility ever had. The delegation expected Earth. Instead, they were guided to a structure orbiting a yellow star far from any major human world. It was called the Concord. At first glance, it did not look impressive. No spires. No glowing monuments. Just a vast, calm ring of dark metal surrounding a sphere of soft white light. But as the delegation approached, their sensors failed in strange ways. Distance felt wrong. Mass readings contradicted each other. Time itself seemed stretched. This is not a station, one councillor whispered. No, another replied. It's a system. They were received by humans, not soldiers, not rulers, coordinators. Engineers. Philosophers. People dressed simply, speaking softly, moving with purpose. At the center of the Concord, the council finally met Ambassador Elena Ward again. She looked older, calmer, unimpressed. You asked to speak, she said. So we are listening. The High Arbiter studied her carefully. You have grown powerful, it said. Elena shook her head. No, she replied. We have grown focused. The council did not like that answer. You destabilize regions, one elder accused. You alter stars. You interfere with established order. We correct waste, Elena replied. We reduce collapse. We prevent wars before they begin. That is not your role. Elena smiled faintly. It wasn't yours either, she said. You just claimed it first. The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. The humans did not deny their expansion. They explained it. They showed models, not weapons, but equations. Networks of cooperation between human colonies where resources flowed without markets collapsing. Energy systems that eliminated scarcity instead of exploiting it. Decision structures that adapted instead of ruling. You rule through preservation, Elena said. We survive through change. The council listened. Not because they wanted to. Because the data was undeniable. Human-controlled regions had fewer conflicts. Fewer famines. Fewer rebellions. Species near their borders began requesting association, not conquest. That terrified the elder races. If others follow you, the High Arbiter said slowly, the council becomes irrelevant. Elena met its gaze. You were already becoming irrelevant, she said gently. We just stopped pretending otherwise. That was when the first interruption occurred. Alarms echoed across the Concord. A hostile fleet had entered the system. Not human. Not Council. An alliance of minor powers, species crushed under Council stagnation, had decided to strike first. They believed humanity distracted. They believed human space undefended. They were wrong. Elena did not panic. She did not even raise her voice. Observe, she said. The humans did not launch fleets. They did not fire weapons. They changed the environment. Space itself twisted. Not visibly, but mathematically. The attacking ships lost formation. Their engines fought invisible resistance. Communication fractured as signals bent and folded back on themselves. Human vessels appeared, not surrounding the fleet, but inside its formation, emerging from folded space like thoughts becoming real. Still no weapons fired. A human voice transmitted to every hostile ship. You are not our enemy, it said. You are a symptom. The attackers tried to flee. They couldn't. Gravity shifted. Not violently, precisely. Ships were guided, slowed, parked gently in stable orbits like misbehaving children set aside. No casualties. No explosions. Total defeat. The Council watched in stunned silence. You could have destroyed them, one elder said. Yes, Elena replied. And you would have applauded. The High Arbiter finally understood. Humanity was not building an empire. They were building a replacement. After the incident, the Council requested a private audience. Only Elena and the High Arbiter remained. You will break the galaxy, it said quietly. Elena looked at the stars beyond the Concord. No, she said. We will let it heal. You think yourself better than us. Elena turned. No, she said again. We think differently. She stepped closer. You taught the galaxy obedience, she continued. We teach it options. The Arbiter felt something old stir within itself. Fear. The Council returned to Prime divided. Some demanded war. Others demanded containment. A few whispered surrender. But war required an enemy. And humanity did not act like one. They offered technology freely, but only systems, never weapons. They allowed observation, but never control. They answered questions, but never asked permission. More species drifted toward human association. Not conquest. Choice. Trade shifted. Influence followed. The Council issued warnings. No one listened. 30 years after the laughter, the galaxy had changed. The Council still existed, but no longer ruled. And in the ancient chamber where humanity had once stood mocked and small, the High Arbiter sat alone long after sessions ended, staring at the empty center circle. It remembered 7 humans walking away in silence. It finally understood the warning it had felt too late. Silence, when chosen, was not weakness. It was preparation. The Council chose force because it could not choose change. That decision was made quietly, behind sealed chambers and ancient protocols. No announcements. No declarations. Just a vote passed by those who still believed the galaxy belonged to them by age alone. They called it restoration. A coordinated strike. Surgical. Decisive. The target was not Earth. Not the Concord. Not even a human world. It was an associate system. A neutral species that had aligned with humanity only months earlier. A message to everyone watching. This is what happens when you step out of line. The fleet assembled in deep space. Thousands of ships, some older than human civilization itself. Weapons charged with energies that had cracked planets and sterilized stars. The Council believed speed would win. Shock would win. Fear would win. The attack began without warning. The associate system burned. Stations were shattered. Moons fractured. Billions died in the first hour. And for the first time in decades, humanity broke its silence. Not with anger. With clarity. A transmission spread across every known frequency, carried not by power, but by reach. This action has been observed, the human message said. This action has been recorded. This action has consequences. The council laughed again. Briefly. Humanity did not retaliate immediately. They evacuated survivors first. Human ships appeared inside the ruined system faster than light should allow, pulling refugees from collapsing habitats, stabilizing broken orbits, holding fractured worlds together long enough for life to escape. Only after the last survivor was safe did humanity respond. Not with fleets. With revelation. Across the galaxy, ancient structures failed. Council-controlled gates shut down simultaneously. Defense grids went blind. Communication relays revealed hidden clauses, secret overrides, embedded control systems no one remembered installing. Humanity released the truth. The Council had never ruled by wisdom. They ruled by control. Every major galactic system contained failsafes only the elder races could access. Trade dependencies engineered over millennia. Energy standards designed to punish independence. Scarcity manufactured to enforce obedience. The galaxy watched as humanity published it all. Open access. No filters. No edits. You built a cage, Elena Ward said in a broadcast seen everywhere. You convinced the galaxy it was safety. The Council scrambled. They activated emergency powers. And found none. Humanity had already removed them. The final confrontation came not as a battle, but as a meeting. Prime Station. The Grand Chamber. The same circle of light. Elena stood there again, but she was not alone. Representatives from dozens of species stood with her now. Former subjects. Former clients. Former dependents. The High Arbiter faced her across the chamber. You could have destroyed us, it said quietly. Elena nodded. Yes. Why didn't you? Because that would make us you. The chamber was silent. You laughed at us, Elena continued. And in that moment, you taught us something valuable. She looked around. You showed us that power without humility always collapses. The Council attempted one final assertion of authority. No one listened. One by one, species withdrew recognition. Trade halted. Alliances dissolved. The Council's power vanished not in fire, but in abandonment. The elder races were not exterminated. They were ignored. Years passed. The galaxy reorganized. Not under human rule. Under shared systems. Humanity never crowned itself leader. Never claimed supremacy. They built frameworks others could join or leave freely. Mistakes happened. Conflicts still existed. But no one laughed from a throne anymore. On Prime Station, the Grand Chamber was eventually closed. The circle of light dimmed. The High Arbiter returned there one last time, alone, standing where the humans once stood small and mocked. Now, the silence felt different. Not threatening. Earned. Far away, Elena Ward watched stars rise over human colony world. Children played beneath artificial skies. Ships launched not for war, but exploration. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had outgrown it. And the old powers, in their final moment of clarity, understood the truth they had missed from the beginning. The humans had never asked for permission. They had asked for respect. The galaxy did not end. That was the first surprise. Many had believed that removing the old powers would cause chaos, collapse, endless war. That without ancient rulers, everything would tear itself apart. It didn't. It changed. Slowly at first. Then all at once. Human systems spread, not as laws, not as commands, but as tools. Open frameworks for trade. Shared energy standards that removed scarcity instead of redistributing it. Conflict resolution networks that acted before wars escalated, not after worlds burned. Species chose what to adopt. Some took everything. Some took only parts. Some took nothing at all. And humanity allowed all of it. Because control had never been the goal. The elder races faded into history. Not destroyed. Not erased. Just, no longer central. Some adapted. Others retreated inward. A few even joined the new systems quietly, humbled by the realization that survival no longer depended on dominance. The High Arbiter lived long enough to see it. From a small habitation ring far from Prime, it watched ships of every design pass freely through shared corridors of space. No checkpoints. No tribute fleets. No council seals. It remembered the laughter. It finally understood the cost. Humanity never built statues to itself. There were no monuments declaring victory. No days of triumph celebrated across the stars. The moment when the Council lost control was not marked with fireworks or speeches. It was marked by work. By teachers traveling to new worlds. By engineers solving problems no one had thought to solve before. By humans sitting beside aliens, not above them, asking the same question again and again. How can we do this better? That question became humanity's true legacy. Decades later, a young species made first contact. They were small, fragile, newly starfaring. Their ships were crude. Their science incomplete. They arrived nervous, afraid. They expected judgment. Instead, a human ambassador met them with a smile. "Welcome," she said. "Tell us what you need." No laughter followed. Only listening. In the old Grand Council Chamber, long sealed and forgotten, dust drifted through the silent air. The circle of light at its center was dark now. No one stood there anymore. The galaxy no longer needed a single place where power gathered. Power had learned to move. On Earth, Elena Ward stood beneath an open sky filled with stars that now felt closer than ever. She was older, slower, content. A young aide stood beside her, looking up. "Did you know it would turn out like this?" he asked. Elena thought for a moment. "No," she said honestly. "We only knew what we refused to become." She smiled softly. "They laughed at us because they thought we were small." The aide nodded. "Were we?" Elena looked at the stars. "We were young," she said. And the universe forgot how dangerous that could be. Far across the galaxy, in systems once ruled by fear, children grew up never knowing what it meant to beg for permission to exist. They inherited a future built not on domination, but on possibility. And in that future, humanity was remembered not as conquerors, but as the species that walked away in silence, and changed everything.